And so I thought I would do a video on Ted Lasso, and sort of this philosophy of that show and how it can pertain to chess and help your chess. Personally, I am going through like a huge losing streak. I took like a 10-day break or so over the holidays, and I sometimes you just find yourself with really like as if you just took a huge step backwards and you don't know what's happening. This has happened to me a lot personally in like other physical sports. Um, I used to do like parkour and tricking, and let's just say like I don't know if you know what tricking is, but let's just say something like gymnastics. And oftentimes, what can happen is you like work on this certain move, and then you completely overnight, seemingly, you're training, everything's good, you're feeling really good, you're doing all these like I don't know backflips and all sorts of stuff. I'm not gonna name off all the tricks. You go home, you wake up, you go back the next day, you start messing around, and you realize that you just completely forgot how to do something. Like this has happened to me so many times. Something, like the wiring in your brain just kind of got messed up. And in particular with chess, I find that your mental state is extremely important. I mean, really for most things, right? Like your mentality is very important. So I think that if anyone has watched Ted Lasso, I just recently got turned on to it. I watched the whole thing in like freaking 2 weeks, and it's just amazing, especially in like the interpersonal relationship part. But also just the philosophy of it. I think that I'm also thinking about doing a video on the potential benefits of meditation and Zen, that kind of stuff for chess. Anyways, what I like about the show is that it recognizes that human beings we perform best. Most everything performs best when we are in a state of relaxation. So like if you look at the most efficient athletes, people that have spent like the 10,000 outlier hours, whatever, the 10,000 hours owning their craft, um, what they say is that, it's not necessarily that they are stronger or that they, whatever. It's the technique. It comes down to technique, and technique comes down oftentimes to knowing exactly when you need to fire exactly the right muscles. So like if we look at, let's just look at like a backflip with like a full twist or like a double twist. Okay. This is just what I'm using because it makes sense to me. Someone who can perform that movement extremely quickly has just learned how to fire the right muscles at exactly the right moment and not waste, get rid of as much wasted energy as they can. So the same thing I think pertains to chess. And, so it's important to have a state of relaxation. Why? Because you're not stressed. When you're tense, when we're stressed, I think everyone can kind of agree, you usually do not perform at your best. If you've ever taken like quizzes and tests, at school or whatever, if you're really anxious, I'm sure, everyone knows like test anxiety, which is a real thing. Well, there's much less of that if you are just calmer, and it's kind of like, I don't know, it's almost like the computer. There's just all this RAM that's being used up with like unnecessary thinking and worrying and stress and all that stuff. So there's a few ways to go about that. But what I like about Ted Lasso is that, um, they're like, it's a football team, right? Soccer, football, but let's call it football. It's a football team. And so like they're professional athletes, right? They still have to perform, but the whole kind of overarching, um, idea of the show is that performance is not the most important thing. Performance is not the most important thing. And a sort of like authoritative, like dictator like coach or just mentality, not only is just shitty and we all hate it, but also it's not the most effective way to go about doing things. There is something to be said for working hard, right? Putting in the time and working hard. But and this is what I'm going to try to implement in my in my own chess is putting in the practice has nothing to do with your mentality about it. So wanting to win, and this is like, a very philosophical sort of take that I'm taking to this, but I do truly believe it. Wanting to win has nothing to do with you actually winning. And in fact, it might have the opposite effect. Um, or I would say it has very little to do with it. Another example that I'll give here is I had heard about, I don't remember where I read it, but football players, while kicking like a penalty, that if they take like an extra three or just let's say a few seconds before the kick, their chances of actually making the kick and scoring was higher, which doesn't surprise me because um, essentially when you are at your best, if you watch like, whatever kind of chess player, grandmasters, whatever. My favorite, for example, Eric from the Chess Bras. If you watch him play, so he's like a really strong player. He's not a super grandmaster, but he's very strong. Um, he's in his groove. When he I think he's won a couple title Tuesdays, right? So he's going up against some of the best grandmasters in the world, and he can beat them sometimes. And when he does, what I notice is that you'll often hear him say, "I'm feeling frisky," or he has like some of these other phrases that he'll say, which basically is just meaning like he's in the mode, like he's in the mode, he's not thinking, he's not overthinking, he's letting it just kind of come through him. So chess is hard because you do need to calculate a minimum, you need to think about what your opponent is doing, what your plans are, etc. But brilliancy, I think, always comes out of a place that we don't know where it comes from, really. It's just a state of fun, enjoyment, relaxation, whatever. It certainly does not come from a place of stress, worry, you know. And I think that like in today's world, people are coming around more and more with a lot of different like Eastern philosophy, and look how much like mindfulness is pervasive in all of mental health and all of it's really like it's taken a grip, I think, of the Western world, and people are beginning to realize that maybe you don't need to be like a slave driver and just beat the shit out of yourself to like get really good at something, which I appreciate. So anyways, just a little rant about that. I am now going to jump into my own chess game. I'm still super tired, so you know I'm just going to try to keep my zen here and just chill out. Well, first I'm going to do some puzzles and whatnot, and then I'm going to do a rapid game, maybe too. Thanks for watching, everyone. If you are interested in my journey to 2000 elo, where I am growing my beard until I reach 2000 elo, click on the video below, or I'll put a link, up above somewhere. I post videos nearly every single day of the rapid games and my progression, and I share everything that I learned. So check that out. Check out the Discord server that I have. Feel free to hit the like and subscribe button, and I'll see you next video.